All right, y'all. I'm so sorry for the delay. Welcome to Commission Reviews. You know, I'm working on some things behind the scenes. Y'all know how I do. I'm always working on something for you guys. It's okay. It's worth the wait. Now, I'm trying to work out some things. I'm gonna go ahead and bring Pranav up real quick though. Welcome. First of all, can you hear me? I didn't usually test. I ain't test anything, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. Yes, I can.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I sent everything to everybody. I don't know if they didn't respond to me or anything. Did they, if they tell you
no
they
worries.
received it?
Well,
Did they tell they received it or anything?
Yeah. They're in the Let me just shoot them real quick.
Yeah, I sent it to both of them. So I don't know if she told you she received it or not. I didn't get a reply for either one of them. So I did send it to both of them. But welcome to my channel. Welcome. How are you today? What happened? I went. Oh no.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I was just shooting them a text message. Thank you for having me. I am doing really well. I just had a crazy weekend. I was out in Vegas, just celebrating for the finale. Met up with Avery. We did some cool content type of stuff, and not much else, man. Life is good. The finale came out. Just
Yes.
loving to see all the love, all the support, all the theories, all the little things that people are noticing. So it's a lot.
So you said the thing people are noticing. What exactly have people been saying? What have they been noticing? Coming up with the theories.
Theories. I mean, people like to like think about like what the dynamics were because like the way the show was shown, right? Like
Right.
and in the edit, like you don't get to see uh relationships being formed. Like some people are like, hey, oh hey Aves, what's up?
Hey,
Hey now, hey now.
Oh my god, now I
hey
feel bad.
there.
Now I feel bad. Can I change? Can I go
You can
sideways?
actually. There you go. I was gonna say you can
Will that
change. Yeah.
help? Yeah,
Yes.
so it'll make
And for
for a
some
better
reason
video.
the mic sounds like a little sticky. For some reason, I don't know what is going on with that.
I don't know. I got
If you,
AirPods. Is it doable?
yeah, it is. It's cool. It's cool. I'll just say
You
for some reason.
should. Do
It's
you have a
doable.
wired one, Pranav?
Uh, do we have a wired headphone?
Because it's like scratchy.
We
It's
actually
just like
do.
going in and out.
We do have a wired headphone.
Do that.
So my girlfriend's getting it out of her bag right now.
She is okay.
Oh, here.
All right, bet. So here they are. But yeah, no. Avery, she was just asking me. Like I said that people are making like people are starting to notice things. People are like starting to have their theories, and she was like, "What type of theories are people starting to have?" And I'm trying to say that on the show, you know, you only get to see like relationships develop in missions or like at eliminations because like that's kind of how the edit is. It's like mission elimination,
Mhm.
um, and it's not like you don't like no one saw Pranav become a thing,
Yeah.
and like but like people caught on to the fact that
Right.
we're friends just by like based on the little clips that they showed. But like we had scenes and conversations and so much was filmed that just didn't make the edit because I mean for whatever reason it can't fit in the edit or whatever direction they're trying to take it in. So for those
Pranav,
reasons,
swap
I
your
mean,
headset real quick.
yeah,
Your
okay,
audio is
yeah.
really
See, I've been
distracting.
waiting on it. I'm sorry. I'm
See,
sorry.
Pranav and
Okay.
I are good friends. I
I
can
can
tell him.
tell. I can tell. I
Kamisha's
can tell.
like, I don't want to say it, but this sounds like crazy.
Yo,
Yes.
Kamisha's like, I can't even hear what you're saying right now, bro.
I'm
But
so
keep
done.
going.
I ain't want to say nothing, but
I think that this will be better. And also,
uh-oh.
thanks, Sabrina. Sabrina's
Oh
his
my god.
girlfriend.
Okay,
We're good
he
friends
just
as
went
well.
out.
But yeah, he's just trying to say like there was this whole scene, and Pranav and I were really looking forward to it because right before the elimination, the first night, you know, when all 12 players were there, it
Mhm.
was super nerve-wracking because no one knew, you know, would I be eliminated? Who is everyone going for? Like maybe I'm just gonna answer the questions and it's the majorities are not in our favor, you know,
Right.
because the majority of the group, you know, is from the East Coast. So we were coming up with like what we thought the answers would be like, okay, the majority of the group is from the East Coast. What if the question is the mole from the East Coast or West Coast? And like the majorities don't play in the favor of the mole. Like what if the mole doesn't fall into the majorities, and then Pranav and I are taking this quiz for the majorities, and you know, so it's a super nerve-wracking super nerve-wracking night. And so there was this whole scene in the beginning, and you know, production followed us with a camera, with a drone on that beautiful bridge walk over the that pond that's at the James Bond looking house in the forest. And the camera followed us over, and we were having this beautiful conversation where basically Pranav was saying like, hey, you have a 1 in 11 chance that I'm the mole. Your chances are pretty good. Like, let's make an alliance. And I was like, I don't know if I can trust you. And I said, I was like, you know, like if you screw me over, we won't be friends after this. I said that to him because I was very adamant, like,
Wow.
hey, if I'm gonna put my trust in you, like I wasn't trying to, you know, like figure out if he was the mole at that point. I was trying to figure out if I could trust him. So I
Right.
said, "Hey, like if you screw me over, like we will not be friends after this." And he goes, "Well, you have a 1 in 11 chance that I'm not the mole." And I was like, those are pretty good odds. And he was like, well, guess what? We're going to be friends after this. And he put his hand out and I shook his hand, and it was beautiful. Drone flying over our head, this
Right.
beautiful walk. And we were so looking forward to like seeing that scene play out. And it just all got cut. And then you go to episode 2 and we're sitting in the car with this amazing alliance and friendship that nobody
Right.
got to see.
Wow.
And so we were thinking, we were like, maybe they were just trying to, you know, keep everyone suspicious and not dive into our friendship too much. But like, it was so strong that they couldn't take it out. So they just had these like, you know, little moments where we were chatting that I guess they left in. But it was just crazy that we didn't get to see any of that play out. And we had so much strategy that no one got to see.
But the
So
fans figured it out. Why do y'all think that the fans fell in love with you guys? They love the dynamic. So even if they did that, I mean, they would have loved to have seen that. The fans, I saw them in
know.
the chat. They went crazy over y'all. Why do y'all think that is? They literally went crazy over the dynamic, the duo, the two of you guys.
I mean, we were the only real duo. Can you hear me actually?
Yeah, you
yeah,
sound great.
it sounds
You
so
sound
much
awesome.
better.
Hell yeah,
Yes.
hell yeah. So like, I mean, like we were the only like real like duo in terms of like an alliance, and I think like the format doesn't encourage alliances. They want everybody to be suspicious of everybody. They don't want people
Right.
necessarily to like show friendships develop. They wanted to have that seriousness to the game. I mean, like Will and I like roomed together all the time, and we strategized all the time, and that doesn't come off on the screen. Like they
Right.
choose which relationships to highlight, like Greg and Sandy, also a very close relationship that you know necessarily doesn't come off at all. But like we all as cast members knew that was a really strong relationship. Even Joy and Jacob were really good friends. So there's like different dynamics everywhere. I mean, Will and Kasi were really good friends. I mean,
Oh wow.
Yeah, they were like really tight. And then there was like actually at Final 8, you remember this, Pranav? They took us out to do interviews as like couples. So they had Pranav and I do an interview. They had Kasi and Will do an interview. They had Joy and Jacob do an interview, and then Casey
Sandy wasn't around, so
and
Casey and Jacob probably.
sorry, Casey and Jacob, yeah, do an interview. And so like there were like they were like trust relationships. They weren't full on alliances like Pranav and I had, but they were just like trust relationships, and they had us paired up in duos. And so you see the impact of the group when Pranav goes home, but they didn't show why it was so impactful, which is that like it was literally like grouped up in couples of like people who trusted each other.
Yeah, because there was 8
so
people left.
interesting.
It was 8 people left, so there was an exact match for every single person. And right before the elimination, where I ended up going home, we actually had a sit-down conversation where Alex actually asked us a lot of questions about our relationships with the person that they knew we trusted most. So they had questions about me and Avery, questions about Will and Kasi, questions about Jacob and Casey, questions about Joy and Greg. So like, they knew, like, the production understood like which relationships were sort of developing, and like Will and Kasi, obviously, like everyone's seen the show, so like everyone knows that Will wins, and everyone knows that Kasi turned out to be the mole. Well, like what people don't see, and in the edit, maybe they don't want to show the way their relationship kind of develops, because they actually ultimately turn out to be the winner and the mole, so they don't want to give too much of a hint as to it. But off screen, I mean, like everyone, and I think the whole cast can kind of attest to it. I mean, they were attached at the hip, off screen, and I mean, ultimately, I mean, I'm not going to discredit Will for if he figured it out that way or how he figured it out. I'm not throwing any theories out. All I'm saying is that Kasi as the mole, like especially particularly after Samara left, Kasi kind of just like shut down. Like she took that like elimination either really seriously or thought of it as an opportunity for her to like kind of look like she was really emotionally impacted by it, so that she doesn't like talk to a lot of people. But you got to realize is that the quiz asks a lot of personal questions about people, like really like intense personal questions that like you would need to know by getting to know someone. You have to like talk to
what
them.
is the mole zip code?
Wow.
You wouldn't know unless you ask.
So, and these aren't like in the observable, right? Like you can't observe this stuff in the game. You just have to.
Does the mole have a garden at their house? Do they live in an apartment or a townhome, or like you have to talk to people?
And mind you, they don't want you to talk, right? Like they don't want you to talk to each other. So like if the camera's not on, don't talk. Like that's kind of the mentality. Only talk amongst the little groups of people that you're with. And so like during COVID,
high school.
It's like high school. It's like high school.
That's how it felt.
And honestly, Avery, like I feel like that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like don't talk to each other, but the filming was supposed to move a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And because it
COVID.
slowed down because of COVID, we would have
Mhm.
like a week off where they'd be like, you have a week off, like we can't go anywhere because of the COVID restrictions. So like we would have our chaperones and we'd get to go on walks with like our little groupings of people that they knew that we liked to spend time with. So like by then Cassie had already kind of alienated herself from the group and was spending a lot of time with Will. And so like they were paired together. And you know, like they would do their walks together, they would talk together. And like obviously none of us knew that Cassie was the mole, right? Like so no one really has an issue with it. But then like ultimately when you come to find out that Cassie was the mole and Will's the winner, then you feel a little bit maybe like discredited by not like getting to spend time with the mole because perhaps she herself was playing a little bit of a favorite socially, even off screen, which was like
Mhm.
most of the time. So like
Gotcha.
that gave Will a lot of insight. So, you know, it is what it is. And no discredit to Will because I mean, who's he to not to spend and develop relationships with people? So
And then at the same time, I'm like, if I ended up being the mole or you ended up being the mole, we would have been the first people to go home.
Why do you say that
So,
though? The first person to go home.
yeah.
No, why do you say that you'd be the first person to go home if you were the actual mole?
If Pranav ended up being the mole, I put my full faith in him like as a player. So I would have been the first to go home if he ended up being the mole because I put my answers on the quiz everywhere else except for next to his name. You know,
Right.
and vice versa for me. I mean, he knew. I told him that I wasn't the mole. He knew that I wasn't the mole.
oh yeah,
Um,
that's just an edit thing. I mean, I kind
yeah,
of I want to address that too. I haven't really talked about that much, but like you have to say certain things in post production to like make the story work. And like I was asked to say that I was suspicious of Avery, and so like I said it
Aw.
because, and I remember telling them I was like, look, like I remember recording the line. I was like, look, I don't really feel this way, but like if that's what needs to be said, it's fine. It's fine by me because like I know that and Avery knows that like we had complete trust in each
Right.
other. So
Yeah.
like it was fine. Like whatever. It's
and
not gonna
Pranav
impact.
knew about Jacob as well.
Oh
He knew
yeah.
that Jacob miscounted the money, which is partially probably the reason why he got eliminated when we did, or when he did. We literally had the same answers on the quiz. Like I fully
Yeah.
believe that. I think I might have taken the quiz like a couple seconds quicker than Pranav did, and
Yeah.
that's why I stayed and he went home. That's why you see my face when he goes. I was like, because we
Yeah.
had the same exact answers,
Yeah.
same exact answers on the quiz.
It
Yeah.
seems so intense on the show. And what you were saying about Will, so did he kind of have like an advantage, would you say? As far as getting close, I mean, he being the winner and him getting close to Cassie, because y'all said y'all had separate relationships because you guys didn't get close to her, or you said she kind of drew back and just only got close to Will.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's more on
Could have
that
gone
part.
either way. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Pranav.
No, I was just quickly. I'll let you chime in here. I'm just
No, go
saying
for
that
it.
like I just think that like Will, like of course he's advantaged by that in retrospect, right? Like he didn't maybe know in the moment that he was having an
Gotcha, I got
advantage.
you.
But like
Mhm.
looking back, I mean, yeah, that's a big advantage. If you get to spend a few weeks where the mole is only confiding in you and only talking to you,
Right.
that's a huge advantage, I feel like, because then you know the question answers, you could talk to them. And if Will was suspicious of Kasi, which I know through my relationship with Will, that he was suspicious of Kasi as one of his suspects throughout the game,
yeah.
from early
Mhm.
on through later. He was suspicious. He wasn't like convinced, but he was suspicious. And so being able to spend that time with Kasi certainly helps, right? Like there's no doubt that that helped him in the long run.
Yes, of course.
I
Of
think,
course.
yeah, as well, to put this in perspective, which I know Pranav said it kind of like vaguely earlier, what happened was after episode 1, there was a big COVID shutdown, like huge, and we were halted in filming for 14 days. Now,
Jeez.
they didn't want us chatting off
Mhm.
camera. So they actually stuck us in a room. Like we were in individual hotel rooms for 7 days, no social interaction, not allowed to leave the room, not allowed to do anything except they would have a chaperone come bring us food,
Oh
and then
wow.
they would take us on like an hour-long walk. And usually it was probably around 30 minutes. It felt like jail, and it
Sounds
wasn't
like
the
it.
production's fault. They actually took really good care of us, but it
Right.
felt like jail. And after about 4 or 5 days of this, the entire cast got so depressed and so like shut down because remember, we didn't have TV, we didn't have phones, we didn't have internet, not even our favorite music. They took our books away because they didn't want us writing extra materials outside of our journals, which we hadn't received. No, we had.
Mhm.
We had
Oh, yeah.
received at that point. But we like even extra paper they took away from us. So we didn't have any entertainment, right? And this 14-day halt that happened, it affected everyone like mentally. And so at that point production came in and they were like, hey guys, like this is really rough, like we know that you guys are needing to talk, like you need social interaction. So they allowed us to start taking walks with our friends from the
Mhm.
show. And so that's when I was able to request like, hey, can I take a walk with Pranav? It was actually Pranav, Samara, and I that started taking our walks together. So we were a group of 3 that started walking together. So mind you, during this 14-day halt, it was only the people that you had already established relationships and wanted to take a walk with were the people that you were able to interact with for that hour a day. And so me,
Jesus.
Pranav, and Samara ended up taking our walks together. Will and Kasi took their walks together. And so all of this little information, that was when I found out that Pranav owned a dance company. I found out like extra information about where Pranav lived. And this was all stuff that happened off camera. So you have Will, who ends up ultimately winning, who has all this information about Kasi's background. How many siblings does she have? Where is she from? These
Mm.
are all questions on the quiz. And if you're suspicious, which he honestly probably didn't know in the moment, none of us knew in the moment. Samara could have ended up being the mole, and I have all this extra knowledge.
Gotcha.
So no
I see
discredit
what
to
you're
Will
saying.
at all. But these COVID halts ultimately ended up being very, very significant when you look at the overall picture of how the story actually played out, if that makes sense.
Wow, that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. So it wasn't like the because of COVID. Like I mean, unfortunately, you had to go through that. You had to be super safe, and
Yeah.
because of that, these things happen. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
purpose thing or whatever. Welcome,
Yeah.
Samara. How you doing,
Hey,
Mama?
Samara.
Good. How are you guys?
Good. They are breaking it down right
Oh,
now.
I'm sure they
Okay.
are. We've got the best people in here.
Look, period. It's like y'all like became like this once y'all got outside of it, y'all got really close, and I love it. It's like y'all have this bond,
Yeah.
that's like a whole entity by itself. So like nobody really knew, like us watching had no idea what was happening with the COVID shutdown, all this stuff. But it seems like every little thing you guys did contributed to figuring out who the winner is, even when you're off camera. Would you say
Yeah.
that?
I mean,
So
I knew the moment I went home that it was Kasi.
did
Like
you
the way,
really?
yeah, I knew the moment I went because like we had our suspects, like Avery and I had our suspects, and like Kasi was like middle ground at that point. Like she was
Okay.
starting to creep up, especially because the bank mission had just happened, you know.
Yeah.
And like we had the same exact questions. That I was like, oh god, I feel like I know it has to be Kasi, and it turned out to be, like she was someone who I only gave a few questions to that week, but I did give her questions. People always ask who I voted for, and Casey and Jacob were taking the majority of my questions, and I had some heat on Kasi as well. And I hadn't ruled out Joy. Joy was like always like Joy could be a black horse in the game. Like you never know. Like if
Yeah.
someone's willing to lose 25 grand, you don't know. You can't rule them out. It's like impossible to
True.
rule them out.
True.
So, but I wasn't like suspicious as the person. As I got to know Joy, who is actually like an absolutely lovely person, amazing person. But
Everyone
like
loves Joy. She's
but
amazing.
she's amazing.
Yes,
But
it's
like in the
everything.
game, she was frustrated because she would like lose challenges, and I'd be like, "Damn! Like all the money's gone. I can't rule her out, but I don't think she's the
Right.
mole."
Right.
It was one of
So
those things.
it sounds like it was intense. So Mara, would you agree that the whole situation, it just sounds really intense. Just hearing you guys speak about it, it just sounds so intense and like a little bit like my anxiety would have been like, woo. I don't know how y'all dealt with this as far as like mentally. I don't think they did anything like negative, I'm saying, but just the impact of the COVID, just being locked down. It just how did y'all deal with that?
I feel like that there wasn't a moment where it wasn't intense. Even when we
Oh,
had these walks and everything, when we had a break from COVID and shutting down
mhm.
production, because even then you're still in the game. So it doesn't matter what's going on. People are still trying to play up this persona that they may be the mole or that they're not the mole. So it's kind of just like we still have to be on guard at all times. There's no downtime.
Yeah.
Even when we were roommates and had to sleep in the same room, we still had to like ask questions and be in game mode.
Yeah, because they're not letting us answer questions. Like they're not letting us like talk, right? Like when the camera's not on, they're like really like stop talking. But like on
Yeah.
camera, they're not interested in us having the conversation of like, hey, so how many siblings do you have? Like who's your pet? Like who do you have? Do you have a garden? Like these aren't things that you're gonna ask people, and they're not gonna be things that they want to film. So and then if you're not
And you
yeah.
throw yourself under the bus by asking those questions. I mean, if I'm trying to act like I'm the mole, right? And I'm going around going like, "Hey, how many siblings do you have? How many siblings do you have? Do you have a garden?" They're going to be like, "Okay, Avery's not the mole. She's literally grilling everyone on every question." Yet if I don't ask those questions and it comes up on the quiz and someone else knows it and I don't, I lose.
Right.
Right. So this 14-day halt that we were talking about, which we actually had a 7-day halt, a 14-day halt. By the time Pranav went home, which, there were 8 contestants left, we had only 13 days left of filming. So we crammed even the finale. I went home, the last elimination, I went home and I had 1 day where I went to a hotel room. I had 1 night's rest, and then I came back the next day to film the finale. So there should have been a lot more time in between and eliminations. But in reality, these COVID halts, it was like a 14-day halt, a 7-day halt, and it was just so much off time.
Yeah, a few others
starting to go crazy.
Yeah.
Like even for me, you saw when I got eliminated, I was like, honestly, like I'm mentally exhausted. Like I'm happy right now. Like I wasn't emotional. I wasn't upset. I was.
You wasn't.
I got eliminated. I was like, thank God I can be myself again, because trying to put on this persona was making me crazy.
It's funny you say that, because when I got eliminated, the producers come and talk to us immediately when we get eliminated. So I told David D and I told David B, I said, I'm so glad that I do not have to try to figure out who the mole is anymore, because it is exhausting.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's, so it just sounds like it's hard. Like, because even the fans, like people thought it was Joy. Avery, ain't gonna lie, for the longest I was like, look, is she just doing this on purpose or what? Like when you were walking that long walk, I was like, what is she doing? What is she?
But then you also, there's so many things that are out of context as well. You have 2 athletic men on a 7-mile run. Like, we're not talking about a mile. We're not talking about 200 meters. 7 miles. This is a double 5K. This is a 10K.
No, and it's also like uphill. It's muddy.
It's like female. And then you have Will calling me a mother effer. Like, are you kidding me? Like, he turns around, he's like, this mother effer, talking about me not being able to keep up. And like mentally, I was like, you guys, like, even Pranav was saying to Will, which they cut as well, that he's like, Will, like, come on, like there's nothing you can do. Like I can only go at my pace. And they made me look like weak. They made me look like I was lazy.
They did.
And it's like, guys, I'm a female, like trying to keep up with 2 athletic males. Like I can only go as fast as I can. And that's no discredit. I'm in a male dominated industry. I'm all about girl power, but physically, like two athletic men, and I'm not a runner. Like I play video games for a living. I'm athletic as well. Like I have decent endurance, but you're talking about a 7-mile run. There's no way.
Girl,
no way.
I'll be on the floor. I'll be like, go ahead.
Dude,
Attack.
it was tough.
And people are like, oh, Avery's lazy. Like, she just doesn't want to do any physical activity. Like, that's suspicious that she can't keep up. I'm like, guys, how do I put this in perspective? It's 7 miles.
It's not just 7. It was uphill. It was like uphill. It was
too.
muddy. It was crazy. Like we went up the side of a mountain and then came down. It was raining. It was crazy. But that's the thing with these challenges. Like there's just so much footage. So everything can be edited to be the way it wants to. And like I really don't like saying that I don't like how the edit comes out. But like one big thing, because Sandy is like a really close friend of mine. Sandy's a close friend of all of ours.
Love Sandy.
Okay.
Love her.
Awesome.
And like let's just talk about some like Dom shit. Like everyone loves Dom. I love Dom. Everyone loves Dom. Okay. But this is a game. And now you've gotten an insight as to how serious this game actually is on everyone. Like how impactful it is, how high emotions are. Okay. Joy had just lost 25,000 for the pot. And now we go to the bank, right? And we go to that bar scene and Dom has a chance to come back after he gets eliminated after the whole Joy thing.
Okay.
Like Dom's on his way back and like the walkie-talkie comes on. We have 30 minutes to do the challenge. We're told the pot is 10 grand, right? Dom can come back with 10 grand if we all just help him out with the answers. Now I pick up the walkie-talkie. I help Dom. I mean, truth be told, it didn't. When I heard the question, I immediately answered because Dom already knew the answer to my question. He knows I'm an Eagles fan. We had already bonded over that. He's an Eagles fan. So like I was just like, all right, I'll just pick up the walkie-talkie, give him the answer. It's the easy diplomatic thing for me to do because he knows. And then you go around the room and like we moderated the conversation and within like 5, maybe 10 minutes, I don't know what they showed on the clock.
I'd
but
say 5.
I'd say 5 minutes, like every single person. And even if like 1 or 2 people were like, maybe we should consider it, like the consensus was reached and that consensus was unequivocally, Dom can't come back because we don't want another competitor. It's not a knock on Dom. It's not a knock on anyone. It was just like, that's another competitor. This game is as hard as it gets. We just can't afford to
you're
have
playing
that.
the game. You're playing the
And
game.
You're playing the game. It's not about the
25K that had
person.
just been pulled versus
25,
bringing
10K.
10K back.
So
Had
the
the
10K.
question been, you can get the 25K back that Joy just pulled out of the pot, I think people would have pondered it longer.
Oh, longer.
It was
10K
like,
is not enough. So
Yeah.
10K and everyone just made the decision. And then I remember them being like, wait a minute. Whoa, you guys made
no,
your
we
decision
turned the
already?
walkie-talkie
We
off.
turned the walkie-talkie off
We
and we just
felt
put it
bad
down.
because he was
Because
like,
Dom
guys,
is
it's hot in here.
Dom was
Please
so
give me the
good.
answers.
Yeah, Dom was killing the game on the walkie-talkie. He was like spitting rhymes. He was like shouting out particular people. Like all credit to
He was
Dom.
like,
Dom
Avery, sweet and savory, give me those answers. Come on. And I was like, Dom, I can't do this.
Not
was like, I
sweet
can't do this.
Avery.
And I said that to him. I was like, Dom, we love you so much. And they showed this. I was like, we love you so much. Like, we respect you as a player, but we respect you too much to like
bring you back. Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And we turned the walkie-talkie off and set it down, and we were all sitting there sad. Like all of us were
Aw.
like, damn, this feels bad. And then production comes back in and they're like, guys, you got to turn the walkie-talkie back on. So we had to sit there and listen to him for an hour, just going
30
like,
minutes.
"Guys, come on."
Yes. Yeah.
It's like 30
Oh,
minutes. Yeah,
man.
sorry.
Yeah.
Just like, guys, come on,
That's
please
why
give me the
Dom was
answers. And
saying
that's why Sandy came off so harsh because
Yeah.
we had already come to a consensus. We had already talked it out.
Yeah.
Like,
That's just Sandy's line. Like that's all it is. Like everybody had a line that was like about him not coming back, but they just showed Sandy's line. And now if you like think about like going back as to why they showed Sandy's line in particular, it's like, well, I mean, Sandy ends up going home that day. Like they didn't know, but
they
in
wouldn't make her
post they know.
suspicious.
Like Sandy goes home that day. Like that the spotlight has to be on Sandy just a little bit enough to like highlight her key opinions and her key moments. But that doesn't mean that everybody else didn't feel that way. And she got a lot of hate. This is why I started the whole thing. I was like, she got a lot of hate. A lot. Because like Dom is loved and everyone been shouting out. And I don't mean by a little bit, I think she gets gotten the most amount of hate for it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and that sucks because like not everyone is getting hate. Nah, especially like that. And like, you know, Sandy's just not that person. Like Sandy's not Dom like shouted her out on the on his TikTok and like explained it away. But point being, edits can change anything. Edits can change opinions, edits can show anything.
The whole
and
narrative.
like
Yes.
they can change the whole narrative. And that's okay. Yeah. It just sucks that if someone is painted as a villain, then people can like attack them and it can kind of like bother, disrupt their lives.
Yes.
Which in the case of Sandy, it shouldn't bother or disrupt her life. In the case of Joy, people were shouting out like, you shouldn't fly when Joy's the pilot. Stuff like that's like super personal to her career. It's like, that's bullshit. Like she was following like a drawn out map that just had like a line and like a few trees on it. Like it wasn't even like an actual map. So
Not
like
trees in a line.
Yesterday,
Go
I
here.
had to, like,
there's no
I had to
scale.
bring out- Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yesterday, I had to bring out like my war sword because someone said on Twitter, they were like, someone find out which airline Joy flies for and like something about how never to fly with her or to like write a report or something, right? And like this is like a personal attack on Joy. So like I had to bring out my war sword and be like, yo, even 7-year-olds who play Go Fish and Uno know that you have to use deception to play a game.
Yes.
So Joy can come on and answer this question for you, but she was either using deception to throw people off of her scent, which she did brilliantly the entire time. I mean, till the day I went home, I was like, I can't rule Joy out. Which that's exactly, if you're playing the game, that's exactly how you want to be. You want to be productive. You want to bank money for yourself for the win, which she did. And you want to throw suspicion on yourself. Like if Joy would have won as well, I would have been like, you played an amazing game, just as, you know, Will banking all the cash he could. Joy, in her different way of playing, played an amazingly perfect game, in my opinion.
Wow.
So I really like have to go to battle for her. Like anytime anyone says anything on Twitter and I see it, you know, I'm bringing out my war sword because she's an amazingly brilliant person, and the way that she played the game and threw suspicion on herself, whether it was mistaken suspicion or you know, just genuine deception, that is the strategy of the game. So the fact that people are coming at her personally, like in her personal life for it, just blows my mind.
100%. They shouldn't be even coming to her personal to any of you guys. Samara, did you have any negative responses? Like, I didn't even know y'all was getting all this negative stuff. Or not all of it, but it shouldn't be any of it. But are you getting any as well, or just
A few negative ones that I seen was I need glasses so I can't see,
Oh
which
my
I just
God.
didn't
Are
pay
you
no mind. But one, I only responded to one. Actually, I responded to two. One of them was on my TikTok, and somebody said something in regards to me being a psychology major and not knowing what I was doing, that I should have won because I was a psych major and that I was stupid. So I had to respond to that one. They had a little typos. So I was like, next time proofread before you post, babes. And then somebody else commented and they said, oh, my mom was happy that you got kicked out. And I was like, I'm happy for your mom.
that is
Like,
oh my God. I don't even understand why they come to y'all with it. That's so odd.
Hey,
It's a game. I get it. But see, the
hey,
fans, they're intense too. The
Yeah.
fans are intense as well for you guys. Did y'all know y'all gonna blow up like that on Twitter? Like Twitter loves y'all. They're obsessed with you guys right now. Like that hashtag, the mole was hashtagging and trending for like 2 or 3 days before even the finale. So once the finale hit, how was y'all DMs? I bet it was super flooded. All y'all. How'd y'all deal
yeah,
with that? That's a lot.
Yeah,
it's
it was
good.
pretty interesting to see what people said. I think once the finale released, people had a lot more love. I think during the game, people were getting like agitated, frustrated, upset. You know, they were trying to figure out who it was and they were like,
Yeah.
you know, kind of being mean to everyone. But I feel like
Hmm.
once the finale released, they kind of understood that it was a game. I don't know, which is kind of the same for us how we played it. You know, during the game, it's like Joy, it's like so frustrating. I'm like, gosh dang it, Joy, like stop doing that. And then after it's over, you're like, oh, I get it. You know, I think the
100%.
audience had the same response. I mean, there's always going to be hate comments. I've been on social media for over 6 years. And I mean,
Mm.
that's just, it is what it is. There's going to be people that hate you and love you. And that's fine. But I think it ended up being a little bit more kind and loving after the finale released, which I hope has been the same for everyone else as well. I don't know. What do you guys think, Pranav, Samara?
I mean, I think it was pretty positive. You know, I was only there for a short time, but my guest wasn't even on there. So my guest wasn't even in the final three. So, but I didn't get any hate for it. And I think everybody was pretty much positive about the finale. I mean, it kind of helped that it was Kasi because a lot of people weren't suspecting her. So it's kind of like, how are we going to suspect her when y'all don't even suspect her either? So
Yeah.
it kind of helped us a little bit that it was somebody that was like least expected.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's kind of crazy when you see like the track record of who was voting for who. It's like Jacob went home voting for Will. Joy stayed till final three voting for Will, you know? So it really just all comes down to who was suspicious of who, and did those people happen to fall in the same groups? For instance, Will and Kasi were in the same group for a lot of the missions. So had someone been voting for Will, they probably stayed around for longer. And then, you know, if someone was voting for Joy as opposed to Will and they were in separate groups, you know, same
Yes.
concept.
Right.
Would any of you guys ever think about going to Big Brother or the challenge? Because like Big Brother, we went crazy over it as fans and as bloggers or whatever. And so when the mole hit, it's like y'all just kind of came right on time for us because we were missing BB and y'all was another obsession.
I went
We're
into the
super
show
thankful. Go ahead, Sarah.
I went into the show wanting to go on the challenge. So I kind of was like, this will be
Ah,
hopefully like an outlet to get into the challenge. But I also love BB. Like I fell in love with BB when I was in Australia and I watched BB Australia for the first time. So now I'm on the US versions. I kind of just started Canada. So BB's cool.
okay. So with Pranav, would you go on BB or the challenge?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably do something. I like playing games that are like more mental, more physical. I don't know.
Big
I
Brother's
don't.
that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
mental.
I
More
think
mental.
Big Brother is cool. I was into it in college, but like I was in college a long time ago, like 2011 or so. So like, yeah, I was early into the early seasons. It's a fun concept, but like I'm also like in law and like I'm doing other stuff. So I don't know. Like I like doing comedy and stuff. I like dancing. I like all sorts of
Yes.
stuff. So like I don't know whether I want to take like 3 months of my life and uproot again like that. Leaving for Australia for 3 months was a big thing in our lives. That was kind of crazy to have to do that. And then like I got to see how the cookie was made. You know, like
I
it
like
kind
how
of
you
made
say
me.
that.
It made me like lose taste a little bit. Like it would just wasn't like, look, like if I can't, I like to be able to be in control of my outcome, or like when I lose something, like I lose with humility. When I win something, I win with humility. And I don't know, like I just didn't feel like I had much control of my actions or like the outcome when I played the game. But like I made some really good relationships, and like obviously it's sick to be on a show that's really that cool. But yeah, I think Big Brother is really cool. I shout out to Big Brother fan. Like honestly, like I just got on Twitter. Like the amount of love, the amount of support is like crazy. And like I know I'm like kind of a menace on Twitter, but like it's just so much fun because everyone's a menace. Like everyone's just talking, and like to hate comments too. Like honestly, I've been lucky. Maybe I've seen like 1 or 2 max comments that are like negative about me, which is like really surprising. I would have been expecting a lot more, and I wasn't expecting this much love. But the point is, like, anytime someone hates on anyone, like anytime like someone comments back, like the person who it's aimed against, then they're just like all of a sudden like in love with you. So like it's just like a way to get the attention of like some of the stars. Sometimes even hate is just a ploy to get attention, and like I don't think that any of us should really take it to heart that much because they're just words.
Yeah.
But it's rough. It gets rough though. I feel like with that being said, so it depends on how everybody can handle it. That's hard. I mean, even when you said how the cookie was made, I love how you said that because you don't really know until, like you said, you see the behind the scenes. Even myself, before I did reality TV, as far as blogging about it, I feel like I've seen behind the curtain. I do look at it differently now than I did when I was just a fan watching reality TV. So I can't imagine what y'all saw behind the skirt, because it's probably a lot. Now I know you said you do the dancing and everything, so I saw that recently. I was like, wow, what in the world made you? Because you're the co-founder of that. How did you get into that? Like it's amazing. I can't dance anymore. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, I danced in college. Like I started dancing because I was like, I had a crush on a girl, and then like I competed on like the Bollywood circuit, which is huge in America. There's like 400 teams or so that compete. And I won a national championship. I started a dance company that was like more Indian with like a buddy of mine who ended up stabbing me in the back. Shout out to him.
Oh wow!
But through that company,
I was like, damn, okay.
During that 14-day COVID halt, I got to hear that entire story. Shout out.
It's a bad one. His name is Rohit.
Wow.
If you ever find him, you can look him up, fans. His name is Rohit Gijre. I have no problem saying that. Anyway,
savage.
I don't care. I really don't care. I say it how it is. Man invited me to his bachelor party and then didn't invite me to his wedding. Anyway,
okay,
that's strange.
It's a weird, and like I like co-founded his company with him. Anyway, so a buddy of mine joins a dance company, Akash. He's Tanzanian. He's Indian. He's a super cool guy. He's honestly someone that I almost gave up my spot on the mole. I was like trying to drop out of my spot on the mole because like I was like, look, I got to work a summer job at a law firm. Like I can't just leave for 3 months, and like for all I know, I'm getting sex trafficked. So I tried to give it to my close friend who could get sex trafficked instead of me, and he like turned it down. But like anyway, this guy joined this dance company that I was on, Akash, and he's Tanzanian. He danced Afro his whole life. He's a really phenomenal dancer, and I started training with him in Afro, and I had done like a lot of Indian forms of dancing, Indian hip hop, stuff like that. So we just started training, and then we just threw our first workshop. We labeled it Afro Desi. Desi means Indian, Afro meaning Afro. We have some DJs and stuff. And after that, we kind of it took off. Like we just started teaching in New York all the time. Now we have like 4 team members, 1 in London, that's Akash, 1 in Copenhagen, that's Natasha. Shout out to Natasha at my company. If you ever see her on the Afro Desi page, she is the best dancer I've ever seen. So insane that she's like the first girl member, and then Ashoka in Mumbai, and I teach in America. So that's just something I like to do.
Wow. So you don't know what you're gonna do. You have something think y'all after the show, and like he said, he's reflecting on what he's gonna do. What are y'all gonna do now after everything is done? I know you're still like dealing with the mold and the comments and the good, the bad, the DMs, interviews. What is next for everybody?
I'll let you go, Aves.
Okay. I play video games professionally, so
Yes.
I'm actually excited to get back to my computer and gaming. After the finale and all of the other parts of the shows released, I have just been like running around like crazy, doing different content. All of my business partners and people that I've been working with forever have been celebrating. So actually the last 5 days I have not been home. I was in LA, that I took a direct flight from LA to New York, and then New York to Phoenix, and then I went from Phoenix to Vegas and back. That was in the last 5 days. So I'm actually really excited to just be home and get back to doing what I love, which is playing video games and interacting like with my community, with gaming. And I do enjoy going to events, but I'm just excited to do that again. And we'll see what game arises next for me.
I like that. Was cute. Yeah, you're a gamer, so yeah, you need to be on the challenge.
I'm gonna
Thank you for
start
killing.
gaming.
I've
Yeah.
actually never seen it. I don't know the concept, but now
Oh,
that you've
girl.
said that,
Oh
I
my
will look it up.
god.
Tap in.
You
So
should.
good.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
it's
because I actually don't really watch reality TV much, which is
Okay.
funny that I ended up being on reality TV.
right. Right.
I watch the dating shows, which is funny because like I'm married. But yeah, that's all the reality TV shows I've ever watched. Even people keep tagging me on like you should go on The Circle. So I ended up watching season 1 of
Mm,
that.
Okay.
But yeah, I haven't really watched any of the other ones, so I'm excited. I feel like I can, dive into the reality TV scene a little bit more now. And I actually met as well another Netflix reality TV star was at the celebration that Pranav and I just went to this weekend, and he gave me a hug and he said, "Welcome to Netflix reality TV." And I was like, "Oh wow, like this is a group of people now. Like that's kind of like a cool statement to hear of like welcome to the Netflix fam."
Wow.
That's the first time I heard that, and I was like, wow, like I actually feel like I'm a part of like a new community of Netflix reality stars. So yeah, that's kind of surreal. I don't know.
Yeah. Y'all are part of this whole thing now. Y'all are a part of this whole like reality TV like forever. And like because the
Yeah.
mole really blew up. I know there was an older version of it. I didn't watch the honestly, I didn't watch the older version. Did y'all watch the old version before y'all got on the show?
Yeah.
I didn't. I had no idea what I was getting casted for, but we had to quarantine for 2 weeks before we could get into the show, which is also why the COVID halts were so impactful because we had just isolated ourselves for 2 weeks. Then we filmed for 4 days and then got stuck in another 14-day isolation. So, anyways, side note, but yeah, I had no idea what I got casted for. And then I was searching online, like the concept of the game, and I ran across the mole. So I binge watched it in quarantine right before I went on camera.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna
that's
have to
the same
watch
thing
it.
for me. Same thing for me, Abe. So when I said yes earlier, that's what I meant. Like
Yeah.
when I looked up the rules of the game, and then like I saw that there was actually like some reality blurb that said like rumors of someone trying to film something that resembles the mole, like the old mole. I like looked it up, and then I was just like, oh, there was old seasons. Then I watched like a season while I was stuck in quarantine for 2 weeks with
Yeah.
everyone
Damn.
in Australia. Like and then that's crazy. Like I know like it was really hard to figure out what type of opportunity we were going in for because like we weren't told the name of the show. So like that's the scary part. Like you're going to another country, like all jokes aside about like having to go there for some other purpose. It's just like I knew that it was a show. It's just like I didn't realize how big of a production it would be. I didn't really realize the name of the show or just like that. Y'all remember meeting at the plane for the first time? Like wasn't that wild for you guys? Like just to
So
see all the cameras, the drones, the everything. You're like, whoa, what?
You're like, this is full on. There were like 16 cameras.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So y'all really had no idea. Wait, so you say you didn't know that but show you were going on for? Is that what you said? You didn't know?
Yeah. They took our phones, and then we each got a call from the executive producer of the show at the time, David Dutton, and then he was just like, hey, like you've lost your phones now, and I just want to let you know you're not here for a show called The Insiders. I don't know if you figured it out by now or not, but like we're shooting a show called The Mole. But like I think most people already knew by that point, so I was kind of just like, I know. But like the point is that they formally told us after they like took our phones away. Yeah.
Man, I don't know. That's not having the phone. I'm older now. I think I wouldn't about it, but I'll probably be a little weak by then.
It was so tough, Kamisha. Like honestly, it's not even not having a phone. It's like whenever, like if you think about like the human aspect of this, right? And you're
Right.
like, what do you do when you feel stressed out? You listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
You turn on the TV, get your mind off of it. You call your mom. All of those things gone. So you're
Or
like, you're really
fine.
stressed out in this high intensity situation. Everyone's lying to you. You know that everyone's lying to you. You know that you're putting on a persona trying to pretend to be someone else, and you're lying to everyone else. And you have all of these like internal moral conflicts going on. And you can't talk to anyone about it. You can't talk to production. You can't talk to talent managers. They do have a psychologist, but you're like, how much of this information that I'm letting out are they using to play against me? Because remember, all of the information that you give, they're giving to the mole to be able to like manipulate the game. So like you're having all these like moral conflicts of like, oh, I'm lying. Like I feel bad about this. Like I need to talk to my mom. I mean, I had that conflict. I don't know if you guys did, but I remember putting together this whole scheme where Sandy and I plotted to make everyone believe that it was Sandy. And so we put together this whole scheme of like evidence that we found and like ways that we could convince the rest of the cast that it was Sandy. And I had to take a moment and be like, I feel so morally conflicted about lying that like I just need a moment. And I cried in my room. This was like it was like episode 2. And I cried in my room because I was like, I feel manipulative. Like I don't like feeling like this. Like I know it's a game, but it's so long. It's such a long game. You're manipulating for so long. And even like purposefully sabotaging challenges. Like I'm feeling so morally conflicted and there's no one to talk to. So it was just like, it was tough, you know? Anyway.
But y'all had each other though. Like somebody did. I mean, how did you deal with stuff like that? I mean, like who did you? I mean, like, obviously you can call anybody, but you guys had each other, right? As far as the talk.
Not really, because we're all lying to each other.
It's like there's no off switch. You can't really tell who's being real or who's being fake. So it was really hard. And then especially, I mean, we had some cast members who specifically were acting a certain way on camera and then another way off. So it's like, are you trying to make good TV? Is this who you really are? Like, who are you? Because I really can't even get a grasp for who you are. So it kind of was really,
which is why, like, I don't think people understand the impact of like Pranav and I creating an alliance, because like that, like, how do you trust someone in this scenario? Like you don't, but like we just both took a chance and it ended up working. But like I said earlier, it could have easily been he was the first to go home or I was the first to go home because of that. It's like the mole can't tell you, like, no, I'm not going to create this alliance.
Wait,
you know?
shout out to Osei though. Okay, can I just say I hang out with Osei? All right, my man gets forgotten, but like this man from Brooklyn, I remember like right before he got eliminated, he didn't know he was gonna get eliminated, but we're like about to go to this dining table. We're sitting on the sides, the lights are off. It's like only the table is like lit. It's super cinematic, but they're having us stand on the side. I start dancing a little bit to ease some of the nerves, and then Osei looks at me and he's like, yo, are you doing the guara guara? And then he just starts guaraing with me, and he's just like Afro dancing with me. This man was hilarious. And like you think about Osei going home, and then you like look back, okay, what did Kasi, who turned out to be the mole, do? Episode 1. It's like nothing. She did nothing. There's no sabotage. So anybody can go home. Like you didn't even have a chance to see it. Osei didn't have a chance to see it. Nobody had a chance to see it yet. So he just happened to go home, you know, like that. Just there was no stopping it. Or like Samara,
so intense,
like
man.
It's so intense. It's so intense, and you can't really figure it out. And then so Kasi played a mole in an interesting way, and we all think about this. We reflect on it. It's like, if you were the mole, how would you play differently, right? Like we were all asked whether we wanted to be the mole.
Are you serious? So you had a choice?
No, you don't have a choice. You express your interests, and then I don't know what Kasi had told them.
Production chooses for us.
Production chooses, and then Kasi got chosen. But like I remember going through all those interviews and being like, yeah, I'm in, you know. But like you can like reflect back and be like, how would you play it differently? Well, Kasi's play was like interesting. I mean, Kasi's play is like build trust in the beginning, as she says, you know, and then slowly start to sabotage. But then and then by the end, she was just doing things like throwing blocks, like blocks of ice off. Like she just went on.
That tripped me out with that, man. I've been so mad.
It's just and like I wouldn't play the game like of the mole like that. I would just be like consistently subtle, suspect, like you know, like always in your eye but not really obvious. Like most people, like I remember seeing some tweets being like, I didn't even realize Kasi was in the game. And like part of that until like episode like 4, and that's because like because Kasi wasn't like taking on like lead positions until like the bank when I was doing the
Right.
thing and she was doing the
Right.
bank, and that's like the first time Kasi's like taken like
That's
strikes like that. That's
Hold
her
on.
first big strike.
when she left out of there, when everybody had to sleep on that cold floor and she walked out so cold, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
That
So
was
she
savage, baby.
went big. She went big. Like she either
But
went big
also-
or like also little. Like and like
Also, that wasn't as impactful as Joy pulling 25K out, because at that point, like for me as a player, I had watched Joy pull 25K, which you saw how upset I got over that.
Mhm.
I was really upset because I couldn't figure her out, and I wanted to press her a bit, which I got a little bit of hate online for as well. But that's okay. Joy and I are friends, and like she understands, and I understand her perspective. But I pressed her on it because I was like, "What's your gameplay?" Like I wanted to see how she would react under pressure, because if she was the mole, like she'd probably stay pretty calm, right?
Right.
Because she would know at the end that like she could be like, "Oh, sorry guys, it was me." So I wanted to press her. I wanted to be like, "What's your game?" Because I figured the mole wouldn't be able to really answer those questions. And for me, it was almost convicting because she wasn't able to answer the question. So I was really testing her. But yeah, sorry, Pranav, go ahead. I just felt like
no,
that
you're
was like
good.
interesting.
No, you're good. My only
Yeah.
point to say about the way Kasi played the mole is like it's an interesting way and it really works for like season 1 when tensions are really high. But it was just like start off really slow, act like take bigger punches like as the game progresses, like with the bank. I guess that's a pretty big punch, and then moving on and start taking some massive punches that are like the most obvious sabotage in your face, all while like off screen like maintaining a relationship with like a single human
That seems so difficult as well.
who like ends up winning the game. So like
That
that's not
seems
like
so
if I were the
difficult.
mole, like I would spend time with everybody, like because I feel like I need to. On not only because I'm in law and I've studied that stuff, it's just like I believe in equity, and I don't believe in like playing favorites. That's just how I play, and like I'm not even bitter about it. I really am not, because I suspected Kasi a
I
little
can
bit. I
tell.
probably should have give him. I should have given a little bit more credence. It doesn't matter. I don't dwell on like my L's in life at all.
Oh, well, I
At
like
all.
that. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
man.
it a lot.
It's like tattooed on my shoulders actually.
That's pretty tight.
But like, yeah, I'm not taking the L any harder, and I'm not dwelling on it now, and I'm happy that somebody figured it out. So like, awesome. But like, just like you can always reflect back and think about how you could have played the game differently as the mole. And I feel like I would have played it differently, and it's just interesting to now look back and see. I know I would urge everybody on this stream actually. Joy, Kasi, and Will had a press day because they're like the final 3.
Okay.
Like last week, and so there was like an article written about it, right? Samara, was it? It was an article.
It came out 12 hours ago.
It came out 12 hours ago, but definitely like go check it out, and like now like you've heard us talk a little bit, and just like and like that'll give you some insight.
Somebody DM me that articles. I want to post it. And I want to
Are you talking about
look
the
at it.
video or like the actual like press article on Tadam?
Are there not both? I think
Yeah,
both
there's
is
both,
good.
but one of them is like an interview with the 3 of them, and the other one is like just writing, like text.
Interview is cringy.
Yeah. Oh, well, the interview's a lot. Hey,
really?
Samara, let's leave it for the audience. So
Yeah,
let's leave it.
let the audience.
Let the audience.
I gotta see this now. I have to see this. Please, somebody send me that. I'm watching that after this.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So honestly, if the things in your life impacted you, did it affect your game? Like you're a gamer. To me, my sons are gamers. That's how I know about it. I literally bought my son his entire equipment. I probably could ask you questions behind the scenes, because he's really into it. But it's really intense. When I watch my sons, it's like I don't even know who they are. They're completely different people. So did that help you as far as the game? Because it was like what y'all describing it is so intense, but gaming is also intense. If y'all don't know, it is.
Yeah.
So did that help you in the game? I mean, sorry, did it help you on the show? I guess.
Are you talking about me specifically?
Yes, Mama. Yeah, because you're the gamer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I absolutely think that it helped. The one thing that threw me off, which they put a line in there about, but they didn't really like tap into it much, is that when you play a video game, you can like create this persona online, and you can kind of like go through things like log in, log out, go hang out with your friends, like log back in. The mole, like, you have to become another person. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I'm still me, right? Like, I still have my loves, my interests, but I'm selective on what I tell people. I'm careful with like what I put out there. I'll strategically be very honest and then make a bold-faced lie. And those are things that, like, with gaming, I've never practiced before. You know, I've never practiced like creating this like full-on manipulative strategy with my like me as a person, you know?
Right.
Like you might just be like, "Oh, I'm going to, you know, say that I have a 7 in my hand when I really have a 6 to see how my friend reacts when you're playing like a card game." But you don't full on have to become that persona and lie about the things you like, but like your interests and things like that, which for me personally, my strategy in playing the game, like I kind of had to lie about some of the things that like make me me. And that was really tough. That's why I was very tapped out at the end. Like I think at Final Four, I almost knew in the back of my mind, like I was so mentally exhausted. I almost knew that like I was going home. Like it was weird because when my screen went red, I was like, damn, that sucks. And they took out this scene. Man, I wish they had it. But during Final Four, it actually, the order was Joy got her green screen first, then Will got his green screen, and then Alex goes Kasi, Avery. You two are the last two left. And Kasi looked at me, grabbed my hand, and went like this. And I was like, damn, Sheeta Mole. Damn, Sheeta Mole.
Oh my God.
And they took that out because it would have been too obvious, right?
Yeah, right. But that would have been tight though.
But I just knew, like, the way that she looked at me, I was like, damn, I'm going home. So before I got my red screen, that's why, you know, I didn't really react when I got it. I just
you
was
didn't
like,
at all. You really didn't. You
She
just
handled
I
like,
was
it with
just
grace.
done. I was
She did.
exhausted
She
and
did.
I already knew. So
Samara, remember Samara getting up and be like, "Where's my phone?"
Literally,
Yeah.
that was the first thing I said.
Oh really? Oh wow.
she goes, give me my phone.
And I remember Kasi told me when we reunited at the finale, she was like, I felt so bad. She was like, I thought it was my fault you got eliminated because me and Kasi were actually roommates right before the button mission. So I was like, girl, don't even worry about it.
But again, there was no opportunity to watch her sabotage for you, Samara. Like you, Osei, even Dom. Like there was not a lot of opportunity. I mean, Dom witnessed one mission of her sabotaging, so there was not a lot of opportunity. No, Dom didn't even witness her sabotaging, not at all. And
I didn't
for
even
myself as well,
witness
I was
her.
never on her team. I never actually
Right.
physically. If I would have saw her pulling blocks of ice off the sled, like Homegirl would have had a different outcome, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not just being salty. Like I'm telling you, because the story that I got was from Joy. Joy was like, man, Kasi was being sus. And I was like, of course you'd say that, Mole. Like, of course you'd shift blame, but I didn't see it.
Okay, hold
I
on.
didn't get to see any of that.
I have to point this out because when you guys were in the plane, in the boat and plane mission, and you made the comment, hey guys, wouldn't it be funny if the mole was in here? And everybody's laughing and Kasi's in the plane. And I'm like, no, everybody's going to look back on this moment and just think it's the funniest thing ever because the mole actually was in
right.
Yeah,
You
but
wanna
then
know
again,
something?
Samara, that's the only mission that I did with Kasi. That's the only mission I
Same.
did with Kasi the whole
Yeah.
time that I was in the game, and like she didn't do anything to sabotage it.
Yeah.
You
So,
know
like,
what's funny?
Job easier.
So I was like, I had no chance of seeing Kasi sabotage. Like I just didn't see her in the jail. I didn't see her in the password. I didn't see her in the episode 1. I didn't see her on any of the train missions, on any of that stuff. It sucks when you don't get to see the mole in action. So people always ask me, if you played the game back, would you do anything differently? And my one answer is, the one thing that I would change about my game is that I would make sure as early as possible that I was getting every single person involved in one of my missions, just so I have eyes on them for doing what they're doing and carefully observe them. And like I just didn't get that with Kasi. Like with the bank thing and the El Dorado and the whole thing, like we were both mission masters. So like I wasn't even allowed to turn around to look at her. Those were like part of the rules. Like I was facing my computer doing my conversions and she was doing her thing, which sucked because she turned out to be the mole. So like she didn't help her team out at all. So, but like it is what it is. That's the thing.
Tamar,
That's what I would change.
Do y'all have any regrets at all? Well, especially when they showed the clips of her being a saboteur. I don't know. I would have felt the way. Like, you doing that when I was over here? I don't know how I would have took that. Like, seeing the flashback when they were showing the different things she did. But do y'all have any regrets at all as far as the game? Like, any regrets that you would have did anything differently?
In my time, I've definitely regret taking the backseat to every like mission. I'm not one of those people who want to lead. I like people to be in positions of power so I can see how they operate.
Okay.
And I just
Okay.
feel like when the button mission happened, I was like, immediately I said, she said it's in the table, but I second guessed myself. I didn't speak up like how I should have and like really advocated for the fact that it was in the table. And then I knew we should have started going for the exemption, but that was another thing. And then going into the button mission, it kind of was like everybody that was close at that point, like me, Will, Dom, Kasi, Joy, Jacob, we all were like, oh, we're going to get in this car and we're going to have fun. The whole time we're going into a mission. And now we have all the brainiacs on that side.
Not the
And all the
brainiac.
jocks on ours. So we were like, y'all, it was just bad decision after bad decision. So I definitely would have played it way better, been more vocal.
It was very split. It's funny that you say that because I feel like it was very split, that mission. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say this and be offensive, but like athletes and nerds.
No,
Like,
literally, that's
how it was
like,
split. Is like nerds, athletes. Not to
I
like
take
discredit
offense.
anyone's athletic ability or their wit,
I take
but it was
offense.
very like.
I
and
take
we looked
offense.
at each other while we were in the room, and we were like, oh, we
Hell
But I'm glad
no.
you said it and not me, because I'm not calling myself smart, but I am a nerd. I mean, I play video games professionally, so
Yes.
all the
It is.
strategic, really strategic players were on you guys' side. So
yeah. That's funny.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think I really like would have changed anything. I don't know. I don't think I would have changed anything that I did for myself. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I actually am pretty proud of how I played. It was really difficult. That's all I can say. Like I did my best, and I'm happy with that. I threw suspicion on myself. I think a couple people got out for going for me, or at least they told me that they did. So like I did my job there. But the one thing that I look back on, we actually had like a crazy, Pranav and I put together like this whole strategy, which I won't go into, but it's like extensive and it worked. And the one thing that I wish that I could have changed is that when Pranav went home, I wish I wouldn't have overanalyzed it and just looked at the facts, because I had the answer on my paper. I rewrote down all of the questions that we had answered and what we had put where and which questions fell in categories for each person. And the answers that we had the least, or the person we had the least answers for, was Kasi. And I looked at it for so long and I was like, man, if he went home and it was Kasi, this would make sense, because we barely have any answers on here for Kasi. And I wish I would have just looked at that factually and been like, it's Kasi.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Just without the fact you're not getting to know her at all, but just this strategy, like, okay, I don't have much information about her. She might be the one. I see what you're saying.
Well, yeah, kind of. But like basically, I'll give you like a rough rundown. But basically, like, let's say, for instance, like Pranav and I are on a team, and then Samara and Kasi are on a team, right? And if I think that the mole is Pranav, I'll say like team 1, which is Pranav and I's team. And then team 2 would be Samara and Kasi's team, right? So there's team 1 and team 2. Now, if the question on the quiz says, which team was the mole on? And I put down team 1, which is Pranav and I, thinking that it's Pranav, but it's really team 2, then that's the team with Samara and Kasi on it, right?
Right.
So when you have these answers, you write down every single person on the cast list and you go, okay, I wrote down team 1. Now that applies to me and it applies to Pranav as well. Now question 2, did the mole bring back blah, 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 blah? How many people does that answer apply to? So you go, okay, Jacob, Pranav, Kasi, this person was on this team. So then you tally that answer for every single person that's on that team. And at the end of the quiz, you have tallies next to everyone's name. How many questions did that person fall into the categories of the answers that you answered? And then you have a list of how many tallies each person gets. This is super complex.
Yeah,
but basically, we had tallies next to everyone's name for every question that we answered on the quiz.
Yeah.
And in these tallies, it would be like, okay, I had 10 tallies for Joy, 11 tallies for Jacob, 11 tallies for Casey, and only 2 for Kasi. And Pranav went home that night.
Just the way the
I
question.
don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Samara,
It does.
That probably
They're
makes
heat
sense
maps.
to you.
No, it actually does. Y'all, I mean,
A-
I'm pretty sure y'all analyzed everything y'all got home by everything y'all did. Like, I
Yeah,
can't imagine.
exactly.
Avery,
Yeah.
you know what else I regret though? Because like you and I, like I think I don't even remember who came up with that idea. I think we both kind of just like tag teamed off of like the
We
idea
both
of
did
playing
it.
majorities, and then we like developed it into the plan that you just discussed. Like we just
Yeah.
like would talk for hours. Anyway, the crappy thing is that for the first half like of the episodes, like I like Will and I were roommates a lot, and so like Will would always be curious
I
as
know
to
what
how
you're
I'm
about to
playing.
say.
And I taught him my ways. I taught him how to do the heat map on people's on questions. And then he would like ask me like how
You
to
taught
do
him
it.
majority strategy as well.
I taught him majority strategy, and he actually mentioned it and shouted me out at the finale for that. He's like, I don't think I would have made it past where I passed like halfway if it wasn't for P. And I'm like, damn it, I should have just kept it to myself, the strategy. But the thing is, Will was to me like so obviously not the mole, and he
Yeah.
was a good
Mhm.
and he was a good source of information. He really was. He told me things that happened behind scenes that he saw from production, also all sorts of stuff that I probably can't talk about, so I'm not going to. But the point is, he had eyes everywhere,
Probably not. I
and
wouldn't.
I'm not going to. Yeah, but like Will
Wow.
had eyes everywhere, and that was a source of information for me. It was valuable, and you know, so I kind of taught him the ways, which kind of sucks, Aves, because we had a really good thing going.
Good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, y'all saw everything. And see, like, with the production, it's like, just like you were saying, y'all saw different stuff or whatever. And I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I know pretty sure behind the scenes, y'all probably like, or whatever. But, you know, you guys handle it very well. Because people get mad by edits. They get really upset about being on reality TV and seeing how, at the end of it, how we watch it, our reaction, and then seeing the edits and what we didn't see. And the missing pieces of scenes and stuff like that. And y'all deal with it pretty well. Like, to me, like, you really are. I'm pretty sure y'all have issues with some things and y'all haven't said anything about it. So how do y'all deal with that? Because other casts I've interviewed, they get pretty upset about the edits because it's usually completely wrong, 100%.
Samara,
Like, we don't even get the whole story.
start first, Samara.
Yeah. Samara, go first.
This Avery's
So,
face is like,
honestly, I wasn't mad about my edit. I thought I honestly was going to be like asshole number 2 of the season because I mean, Aves and P both saw me have like some really bad moments on TV. And then just with my elimination alone, that there were so many scenes cut that it's like nobody really got the full story. Like, yeah, I'm the robbed queen on Twitter, but I don't think anybody really understands how robbed I was just because editing cut out so much. So, I mean, honestly, I like the way that I was portrayed. I'm not angry
hold on,
about
I'm
it,
so
but
sorry. Is there a TV on somewhere? A TV or
not me.
okay?
It
I'm
was
sorry. Go
me.
ahead, Mama. Okay, go ahead, Mama.
But I'm not mad about the way that I was portrayed. I think I was portrayed really well. So I mean, I just wish they would have shown a little bit more of my journey and everybody else's journey. But I mean, 30-40 minutes, you can't really do much with that because we had so much content. It was so much.
Yeah. Again, you didn't get to see the mole in action. So
Wait, how do we reply to the chat? Someone asked me whether the heat map was. Someone said, "Pranav, what's the heat map?" Was that what Avery just described? The answer is yes. Yeah, Avery and I had the same exact thought processes. We etched out a whole way of doing this, and we had a system of working through questions. But anyway, Avery, on to you for how you felt about the edit, and then I'll answer.
the edit for myself, I mean, I can't be mad at. The only thing is that I definitely did not trick Pranav into not telling about Jacob. By the time that the interview had been conducted, I hadn't told him yet, and I was debating like, man, this is really, really juicy information. What do I do? I ended up telling him. He had all of that information for the quiz. So, you know, obviously they wanted to make him look suspicious. I can't be upset at that. Pranav knows the truth. I know the truth. As far as how they portrayed my character, it was pretty accurate. I mean, I'm calculated. I'm pretty straightforward. But they took out all of my funny moments, which like I'm not super funny, but like I'm kind of funny sometimes, you know, like I had these moments where I would show up to the mission and I'd be like, yay, yay, yay. And I'd be jumping around in circles, like holding hands with Kasi, and we'd be like jumping in circles or like, you know, all of those like fun moments. And they had a sliver of this in the mountain mission when we showed up. I like jumped in front of the group and I was like, yay, we're climbing. And like I have a really bubbly, goofy personality, but like none of that was shown. So as far as the edit for myself, I wish they would have showed a little bit more of that. But as the edit for like the whole thing, they just didn't really show wholesome moments in general.
Yeah.
Like there were no wholesome moments. And that was one thing that I was like, man, I wish they would have showed our conversations. I wish they would have showed like people getting to know each other and like the slivers, tiny slivers of trust that were formed between players. I wish they would have showed that, but all in all, like the production was actually beautiful. Like the way that it was put together, constructed, I think they did a very good job maintaining like suspicion on everyone and keeping the audience guessing. So like that's one thing that like, I can't fault them for that at all. But yeah, just wish they would have showed like my bubbly side more. That's all.
I'm happy that I had a pretty good experience with that. As far as the production, I mean, stuff happens, but like I said, y'all handle things very, very, very well. I'm not sure. Did y'all first reality TV? Our first reality TV show?
Yeah, first show. Definitely first show. I was happy with my edit too. I don't have much to say about my edit. Honestly, like I gotta say, like I wasn't even on screen much, but the amount of like love that I've gotten is unreal. Like it's just like it's like everything I wanted people to like take away from like who I am as a person, they've pretty much taken away, even though like they didn't see me much on screen. Like they just saw me like at key moments where I just like come in and say some intense stuff and then kind of just like be out again. So like I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't change anything about the edit. Other than what Avery said about the whole thing about like me sussing Avery to go home, like not true. So whatever. But like honestly, no one has even addressed that. Like people just I kind of find it crazy that nobody suspects me for messing up conversions. Like I can't stress how hard those conversions are. There's like 8 of them where like $23,000 of one currency is $1 American. Like it was complicated math. And like no one ever questioned me. And I think like that's a credit to like how people have perceived me. And like I'm really just thankful. Like they're just perceiving me as someone who can't mess up like complex math. So like cool. But I did have funny moments. I threw out the Indian. I do it in an Indian accent every now and then because I'm allowed to because I'm Indian. So so like there was a point like on the plane, you got the brown bearded guy on the plane making an Indian joke. It wasn't about anything bad, but it was just funny, and I made everyone laugh. And like I wish like some of those moments can make it on, because there are these moments where like I love to be funny on top of just like this calculated nerd. And also like some people are like, that can't be P from the show that we're seeing on Twitter, because like I'm out there posting thirst like dance videos, like you know how it is, like we're all aware of it. So like we do, and like it's just fun because we're letting people know about who we are as people outside of the game. And like, I'm a dancer. I'm a lot of things. My fashion sense is different from like Raj Kuchapali from The Big Bang Theory. Like we're right? People are different. I swear to God, at one point they had me wear a stripe. Go back and if you ever
wouldn't let him wear anything other than up and down striped shirts,
vertical stripes on everything, and like wardrobe would come into my. Remember when we were doing the run, Avery? I got some Zara pants on. And a vertical shirt, and like you guys are in athletic wear, and I'm like, you want me to run 7 miles in Zara pants and like go in the water? Anyway, point being, that's not really my fashion sense, but like that's what the fashion sense needs to be for the South Asian. Like that's that's what it needs to be. You got to be like the professional.
I don't know.
I don't know. People say that okay, I was still well dressed, so I don't have that much of a gripe about it. But like the point is, now everyone gets to see who we are, and I love it.
Right.
And I love it. I love to be able to give the people an insight into who we are, because Samara, Avery, so much of the cast, actually everyone of the cast is truly an incredible person in some way. You know what I mean? They're just impressive. They do a lot.
It seems like you guys have bonded, and also, like I said, the positive stuff I see about y'all is that everybody loves the dynamics, just the way you guys are outside of the show. I think you guys are getting so much love right now. It's ridiculous, and I feel blessed because I got to have all of y'all on my. I wasn't expecting this, y'all. Just so y'all know, wasn't planned or anything. It was like last minute. I was just like trying to send stuff. I was over here struggling in the background, but I was like. I was like, I'm so happy that I got to have Avery on here, Samara, the queens, and the king on here at the same time. This was everything, guys. I really happy you guys took time out to see this little old black blogger over here who's trying to do her little content. So
Oh, it ain't little. It ain't little. You doing it, girl.
look at her. But I'm just saying, for me, I'm just super happy. Y'all made my entire day. Do y'all have any
Aw.
closing thoughts for the people who, because y'all got fans, y'all got some stands right now? Oh my god, do y'all have any closing thoughts? Because that right now they're showing. I saw on Twitter they posted all the things that we missed. I just saw a clip they posted about everything we missed with the Saturday tour, everything, and so people are now just are the conversations opened up more and more about y'all. It's gonna be months probably. They're still gonna be talking about this. Y'all have any closing thoughts at all for your fans? Anything?
I just want to say I love everybody. You guys have been genuine, nice, really kind-hearted. So I appreciate everybody tuning in and really giving the show the attention that it needs and also that it deserves, because it is a great show.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching and sticking through it with us.
P, go ahead.
Not Pete. That's
Um,
cute.
yeah. Oh well. I like the whole king thing that's been going on. Not gonna lie, my head's gonna explode, Twitter fam, and I urge you to keep trying to make it explode because honestly, I love to love. I'm gonna keep interacting. I love you guys. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I've been kind of trying to go through the comments. Ayo, dude, that's my favorite sound. That's my favorite sound. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, okay. Like lawyers are notoriously bad at math. Like big facts, we are. I mean, I'm an engineer too. People don't know that I'm an engineer.
Yes, you are. So, yeah, you're an engineer. You have a great background. I was like, wow.
But no,
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah, my bad. My bad. I thought I stopped it. My bad.
Anyway, much love to everyone. I can't wait. I can't wait to just keep interacting with you guys. And this is the first of many. I'm really happy I got to bring Avery and Samara on.
Yes.
Like hell yeah. Like let's make it happen. I believe in group conversations.
Oh,
I'm
I
a big
love
group
that.
conversation guy.
I love it.
So,
I know Avery's gonna
thanks
be
for
like
having.
her gaming world is gonna be like it probably blown up already, isn't it? I know that. Is your Twitch like on fire right now, Avery? Because you're probably the queen right now.
I've been sad because I haven't been able to go live. But I went live, I think like a week and a half ago, and everyone was like, "Who's the mole? Who's the mole?" And I was like, "Guys, stop asking. Like, I can't tell you." Which like we've had to be super secretive. Like, I'm like, even people will reach out to me and ask me questions, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know if I can respond." But like, I've tried really hard to respond to the love comments. Like, if people are like, "Oh, I was rooting for you" or whatever, I'll be like, "Thank you so much." But I've just been like a little bit more vague because like there's so much knowledge in this little brain of mine, and if I let it out, the world might explode. So no, I'm just kidding. But no, I really appreciate all of the love and support. Even people from all around the world, they'll send me messages in different languages, and like I'll take the time to translate it and then try and translate back and respond. I really care about people, and I want everyone to feel just as much love from me as they're giving me. So, I welcome the DMs. I welcome the messages, supportive, critical, whatever. I want to make myself better, and I want to be, a representation of not only females in a male-dominated space, but also the gaming community.
Yes.
So anyone who's a part of any of that and whatever communities you're a part of, just want y'all to feel the love, just like you've made me feel loved. So thank you.
We're just starting. We're just
That's
starting on the
appreciated.
content. Okay, we weren't able to post about our content. Now we can.
Yeah.
So we have some fire content coming to all of you guys, especially a trip that Avery and I just took to Switzerland. So we're gonna start dropping that content pretty soon, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. You get to see who we are as people.
Well, this thing about it, you guys, anything y'all put out now, they're gonna be watching. If you go to YouTube, start a channel, whatever y'all doing, they're gonna see what you guys are up to and what you guys are doing going forward because they fell in love with you guys, like I said. And a lot of people say they wish they had more episodes. Like if someone said in the chat, they wanted to see more. They wanted to see more of you guys. So yeah, you got a good following going. It's gonna be insane for you guys, probably for the rest of this year. It's not over. I think it's kind of just getting started for you guys, to be honest. As far as content, as far as the fans, the whole nine. But I wanted to say thank you guys. I had a king and two queens on here today who took time to come on my channel, and I'm super happy. So, guys, make sure you guys get the likes up. I will have all the information in the description once the live drops. I will have it tweeted out on Twitter as well. Every I don't think you're following me, but I think I just tagged you in this live.
I got you, Kamisha.
It's
I just
live
was
right
trying to
now.
be super careful. I just like the whole legal side of it. Like I just wanted to be super careful about everything. But I got you. Thank
Oh
you
no, I
for having
understand.
me. I really appreciate you. I know you're a content creator just like me. I mean, we have the same mic arm. We have the same setup.
Look,
So how do you doing your thing, girl? I support it and like I wish you much success with it. It's a hard world
Yeah.
out there,
it
but you're
is
freaking killing
super
it.
hard. It is.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
guys, I'm gonna hit the door because I'm Southern. The end. Talk to y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.